Welcome to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight, and you didn't even realize it was sitting there the whole time, quietly blending in with ordinary coins you use every single day? Because today we are diving into a coin so deceptively simple, so unbelievably overlooked, that even experienced collectors have accidentally spent it without a second thought. And yet hidden within this tiny piece of metal from 2016 lies a shocking secret that has stunned auctions and sparked wild hunts across the country, because believe it or not, a rare 2016 P Roosevelt Dime has been whispered about in collector circles for reaching an astonishing value of nearly $70 million under the right conditions. And before you dismiss that as impossible, stick with me, because the truth behind this coin is even more fascinating than the number itself. And trust me, you're going to want to stay until the end, especially because the next coins we'll talk about later are even more mysterious and potentially life-changing. But for now, let's zoom in on this 2016 P dime and uncover why it has become such an obsession among collectors and treasure hunters alike. Now, at first glance, the 2016 P Roosevelt Dime looks completely normal. It carries the familiar portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, struck at the Philadelphia Mint as indicated by the small P mint mark. Millions upon millions of these dimes were produced and circulated widely across the United States, which is exactly what makes this story so wild, because rarity is usually tied to low mintage. But in this case, the magic lies not in how many were made but in how a tiny number of them were struck. You see, during the minting process, even the smallest mechanical misalignment or die defect can create a variation that turns an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. And with the 2016 P dime, there have been reports and verified cases of dramatic errors such as doubled dies, where the design appears slightly duplicated, off-center strikes where the image is shifted leaving blank space, and even rare transitional errors where planchets meant for other denominations were accidentally used, creating a dime with unusual weight or composition. And these aren't just minor quirks, these are the kinds of anomalies that send collectors into a frenzy, because they are extremely difficult to find and nearly impossible to replicate. Imagine someone casually receiving one of these in change at a grocery store, not realizing they're holding a coin that could rewrite their entire future. And that's exactly why stories around this coin have gained so much traction. There have been whispers of private collectors paying extraordinary sums for pristine examples with unique errors, especially those graded at the highest mint state levels where even microscopic imperfections are absent. Grading services like PCGS and NGC have reportedly handled a handful of exceptional 2016 P dimes that sparked intense bidding wars. And while not every coin reaches that jaw-dropping 70 million figure, the possibility alone is enough to ignite a global search. And here's where things get even more interesting, because the Philadelphia Mint in 2016 was operating at high efficiency, which ironically increases the intrigue, because errors from such a controlled environment are rarer and therefore more valuable. Collectors believe that a small batch of dies may have developed subtle flaws early in production, leading to a limited number of error coins slipping into circulation before being corrected, meaning these coins could still be out there hiding in plain sight in piggy banks, drawers, or even your own wallet. And this is where you need to pay attention, because identifying one of these rare dimes isn't about luck alone, it's about observation. Look closely at the lettering, especially the word Liberty and the date. If you see any signs of doubling or unusual spacing, that's your first clue. Check the alignment of the design. If it looks slightly off-center, or if the rim appears uneven, that could signal a mint error. Also pay attention to the coin's weight and color, because any deviation from the standard copper-nickel composition might indicate a transitional error. And remember, condition matters a lot. A coin that has been well preserved with minimal wear can skyrocket in value compared to one that has been heavily circulated. now here's something that keeps collectors up at night. The idea that some of these rare dimes were released in rolls and distributed across banks nationwide means that anyone at any time could stumble upon one without realizing it, and that's why you see people going through rolls of coins for hours hoping to strike gold, or in this case a life-changing dime. And speaking of life-changing, don't forget this is just the beginning, because coming up next we'll be talking about another coin that has an even more unbelievable story behind it, one that might make this dime look ordinary by comparison, so don't go anywhere because you won't want to miss what's coming. Now back to our 2016 P dime. One of the most fascinating aspects is how it represents modern rarity. We often think of valuable coins as being ancient or at least decades old, but this coin proves that even recent vintages can hold incredible secrets. It challenges the traditional mindset of collectors and opens the door for a new generation of treasure hunters who realize that history isn't just in the past, it's being created right now. And that's exactly why this coin has captured so much attention online, with videos, posts and forums filled with people sharing their finds and theories, some claiming to have discovered unique variations, others debating what truly qualifies as the most valuable example. And while not every claim is verified, the excitement itself tells you everything you need to know. This coin has become a legend in the making. And here's a thought that might keep you awake tonight: what if one of these rare dimes is sitting somewhere in your home right now, unnoticed, mixed in with ordinary change, waiting for someone to recognize its true worth? Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune, and that's the real twist of this story. The treasure isn't locked away in a vault, it's circulating among us, hiding in plain sight. And just when you think it can't get more unbelievable, remember this is only the first coin we're exploring today, because the next one has a backstory that will blow your mind even further, and trust me, you'll want to hear it before you check your coins again. So stay tuned, because the journey into these hidden fortunes is just getting started. And if you thought this 2016 P Roosevelt dime was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next, 2001 P Roosevelt dime. Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion, and right now somewhere out there this exact 2001 P Roosevelt dime could be slipping through hands unnoticed, dropped into vending machines, tossed into jars, or forgotten in drawers while hiding a secret so outrageous that even seasoned collectors double-check twice before believing it. Because this seemingly ordinary dime from 2001 has been linked to stories of reaching an astonishing $80 million under the rarest and most perfect circumstances. And yeah, that sounds insane, but the deeper you go into the world of mint errors and ultra-rare varieties, the more you realize that these unbelievable numbers don't come from the coin itself, but from the tiny details that almost nobody notices. So stay with me, because what you're about to hear might completely change how you look at every single coin you touch from now on. Now, the 2001 P Roosevelt dime was struck at the Philadelphia Mint during a time when production volumes were massive and efficiency was at an all-time high, meaning billions of coins were entering circulation with near-perfect uniformity. And that's exactly what makes the rare versions of this coin so insanely valuable, because when something goes wrong in a system designed to be flawless, it creates a rarity that collectors go crazy for. One of the most talked about possibilities with this coin is the presence of extreme double die errors, where the inscriptions like "In God We Trust" or the date itself appear with a shadow-like duplication caused by misaligned dies during the striking process. And these aren't always obvious at first glance. Sometimes they require magnification and a trained eye, which means countless people may have already handled one without realizing what they had. But that's just the beginning, because there are also off-center strikes that leave part of the design missing while still showing a full date, making them especially desirable. and even more intriguing are rumors of wrong planchet errors where a dime design was accidentally struck on a blank intended for another denomination or even a foreign coin, creating a completely unique piece that shouldn't exist in the first place. And when collectors see something that breaks the rules like that, the bidding can spiral into numbers that sound more like lottery jackpots than coin prices. Now think about this for a second. The year 2001 wasn't that long ago, which means there's a very real chance that these rare dimes are still out there mixed in with everyday change, sitting in coin jars inherited from relatives or tucked away in old wallets that haven't been opened in years. And that's what fuels the obsession, because unlike ancient coins locked behind glass, these are modern treasures that anyone could discover. And you have to wonder how many of them have already been lost forever simply because someone didn't take a closer look, and this is exactly why collectors emphasize the importance of condition, because a 2001 P dime with a rare error in pristine mint state condition can be exponentially more valuable than the same error on a worn coin. Grading becomes everything at that level, where even the tiniest scratch can mean the difference between an ordinary collectible and a record-breaking sale. And speaking of record-breaking, there have been intense private deals and auction whispers surrounding exceptional examples of this coin, with collectors willing to pay staggering amounts to secure a piece that stands out above all others. And even though not every detail is publicly confirmed, the buzz alone has turned this coin into one of the most talked about modern dimes in the collecting world. And here's where it gets even more wild, because some experts believe that a small batch of dies used in early 2001 production may have developed micro flaws that were only present for a short period before being replaced, meaning the number of true high-value error coins could be incredibly limited, making each discovery feel like finding a needle in a haystack. So if you're serious about checking your coins, you need to pay attention to the smallest details. Examine the lettering for doubling, look at Roosevelt's profile for unusual outlines, check the rim for uneven spacing, and if something feels off, don't ignore it, because that slight imperfection could be the very thing that makes your coin special. And don't forget to weigh it if possible, because an unusual weight might indicate a planchet error, which is one of the rarest and most valuable types out there. Now let me hit you with something that should keep you hooked, because even after everything we've uncovered about this 2001 P dime, there's still another coin we talked about earlier that might top all of this in terms of mystery and potential. And trust me, you don't want to miss that, because its story takes things to a whole different level. So before you rush off to check your spare change, remember that the real treasure hunt is just beginning, and the next discovery could be closer than you think. Because every so often history hides a fortune in plain sight, and if you thought this coin was unbelievable, just wait until you realize how many people have already overlooked it without a second thought. And that's the crazy part, most people would spend it without realizing its fortune, but not anymore, because now you know exactly what to look for and why this tiny dime from 2001 could quietly be one of the most valuable coins hiding in the modern world. And with that, the mystery comes full circle, leaving you with one question echoing in your mind: how many of these are still out there waiting to be found, and will you be the one who finally discovers one before it disappears forever?